Yeah, we're AWES, Agroforestry and Woodlot Extension Society. AWES is the short form. But yeah, we're a not-for-profit society that tries to kind of spread the word about the value of trees on agricultural landscapes. And we kind of have two main areas we focus in. We work with public outreach and extension to kind of educate landowners, agricultural producers, municipalities, counties on the benefit of integrating trees, tree buffers, natural habitats back into agricultural landscapes or even public spaces. And kind of all the many ecosystem services those areas provide, especially on marginal lands where sometimes agricultural production or forage isn't as beneficial as it could be for a natural habitat buffer. And the other side is planting project development. So with the ones you did today, these are kind of following Dakota's swales. So this one I believe was planted in 2019, and then the other one you guys did up there was 2021. So benefit of these is they're gonna, the roots of the trees are gonna break up the soil a bit more, create those macropores to allow better moisture infiltration. So better moisture in the area, as well as helping with soil erosion by, again, those root systems locking down the soil and grabbing up that sediment or any sort of runoff in terms of chemicals or fertilizers. And then eventually they'll be tall enough to act as windbreaks, which can shelter, the cows over there, as well as any kind of, if you had them over on crop fields, kind of helping with erosion control from wind. So a big thing that we do is we actually are focusing a lot more now on EcoBuffers, which are plantings designed to mimic natural forest habitat. So we look at creating really diverse, dense plantings of native species that are local to the area that work with the ecoregion, and then kind of creating that really makeup of different physical layers, starting from the ground cover, the herbaceous layer with wild flowers, other herbaceous plants, going to the shrub layer, so you have the small, medium, and high shrubs, and then the mid canopy of small and medium trees, and then you have your top canopy, which is kind of those pioneer trees, so balsam, birch, aspen, as well as the conifers we have around the area, so white spruce, lodgepole pine, and even tamarack in some of the wetter areas. So with those EcoBuffer plantings, they can be planted to act as what traditional Shelterbelts would do. So again, protecting wind erosion, protecting from the wind chill, enhancing the soil moisture infiltration in the area, enhancing pollinator services. So a big part of those EcoBuffers is you try to incorporate a range of species that'll have different flowering periods throughout the season. So there's always something for native pollinators to access. These different species will bloom at different times and different lengths of times, as well as different flower shapes, which attract different pollinators. So as well as with those EcoBuffers, we try to connect existing habitats to create wildlife corridors across the area. So a lot of our agricultural landscapes can be kind of fragmented when it comes to natural habitat spaces. So a big part of planting these is hopefully to connect and continue safe passages for wildlife, as well as increasing the breeding habitat and foraging habitat as well. So with AWES, what we'd like to do is we, reach out to landowners, agricultural producers who are interested in kind of creating these planting projects on their land, whether it's an EcoBuffer or repairing buffer, so any sort of planting along water bodies, whether it be creeks, ephemeral creeks, streams, lakes. Those are a big benefit to help with protecting our water systems, as well as increasing natural corridors along those repairing bodies. So you can either kind of contact AWES through our website, and we have a consultation form you can fill out if you're interested in planting projects. Usually how it works is we do an initial site consultation to see if the area you're looking at is viable for a planting project, and then we try to connect funding towards that planting project as well, depending on where that funding comes from, whether it's partners, sponsorships, or grant programs. And then we work with you, the landowner. Usually the commitment on your end is an in-kind contribution, whether that's the time for weed maintenance, water management, any sort of planting help you can contribute. Even if you have cash involvement, that's always a bonus and helps get the project off the ground. But basically it's that in-kind contribution to kind of look after the initial years of that planting project so it can successfully establish, sort of like what Dakota's doing here with the hemp mats. and then doing weeding and stuff like that. And then from there we kind of come out, do work with you to come up with a planting design that works for you and for us, and works for the area, and then hopefully line that up for a spring or a fall planting if the project is a good go ahead. And yeah, usually we have a spring planting season, we have a fall planting season, but we're really looking at increasing our program capacity next year. So spring 2023 and fall 2023 will, as Dakota said, have lots of opportunities to kind of increase projects. So if you are interested in similar plantings like these, or more kind of denser plantings that'll end goal will kind of look like that, for different widths of the buffers, if you have room for that on your landscape, we're always interested. And then we also host workshops throughout the year, whether they're online, virtual, through Zoom, or now that hopefully COVID's dying down, we're doing a lot more in person this summer. So you can kind of check out our website, Facebook as well, and usually when we partner with counties, they'll have it advertised on their websites too. So that's another way to kind of learn about all the different benefits of trees and the many different ways you can use them or incorporate them onto landscapes, whatever their function. So yeah, that's kind of my plug. But if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask, I guess now, or if you can just, I'll be around for a little bit more if you want to chat with me. And again, if you're interested in future project work, best is just to send us an email through our website, or at info@awes-ab.ca. So.
I have a question.
Yes.
What's your oldest EcoBuffer that you've done?
So AWES has kind of been around since the early 2000s. Back then it was more focused on Shelterbelt, so EcoBuffers. We've had some in the early 2010s. Would be probably the farthest back that we go. But the nice thing about EcoBuffers